Then let's get this over with.
Let's start with the video. Any thoughts you'd care to share? I found it on... I take it that means he's the one who...
Yes.
That means Kawana already knew, but...
Yes.
If that's the case, then why was Kawana-san didn't
We
show
had
that?
no idea we were even being taped. We didn't find out about the video, or the reason he sat on it so...
Why exactly did...
Kitakata-sensei said he...
What?
If that video came out at the time of the incident, and after all, Kawai was exposed online, and that would mean millions of yen in compensation for damages.
Yeah, but you guys could have wound up in the same boat.
No. At most, we would have come across as dumb kids he roped into helping him. We might have caught some flack. But people... But that's only how I would have...
You're saying circumstances are different now?
I have a child now. A husband, an upscale apartment. If the world sees that tape now, then what do you think would happen to him? The son of a woman who drove a kid to attempt suicide. His life would be ruined. That recording is more than kids being cruel. Mitsuru jumped from the school roof that very night.
I get it. Yep.
Same for all my classmates. Most graduates go off. One started his own
And
company.
they're all in your position.
Exactly. He waited for... And when that time came, he started contacting us.
When was the first time Kawana...
5 years ago. At first, I barely then without so much as a word, he took out... He's a psychopath.
Well, all you kids tormenting Mitsuru looked pretty psychopathic to me.
Oh, and you're so perfect. An angel who never once acted out of line, never lashed out at someone weaker than you, or sided with the group to shut someone out. Everyone does it. We were just lucky enough to have some creep tape us, picking on some kid who could. Why did this have to happen?
I'd say it's because bad things... You'll sling your barbs from a safe distance. But once you're...
You said it was 5 years ago. That reminds me of something Shirosaki-sensei was looking
What?
into. There was this guy. I think his name was Shinya Kawai. Something about him getting snatched off the street.
Then it was you guys. You're the ones who abducted him in Kamurocho.
No! It wasn't us!
Wasn't us, huh? So you're not
All
denying...
Sensei told us was to find Kawai and bring him back with us. No,
Did Kawana tell you what he wanted with him?
he needs to be there when you all beg for forgiveness. And if we refused, so we all went to see Kawai, but he wanted nothing to do with Sensei, considering he'd cost him everything.
But doing nothing would cost the rest of you everything, too.
Yes. So we had to force him into our van.
Yeah, that lines up with what the local eyewitnesses said. So then what happened?
We were directed to... After that, he said we were free to go.
So you left him there alone with Kawana?
We had to.
What did it say?
Nothing. There was only a video. It was of all of us, pushing Kawhi into the van. Turns out you can see all our... Even if you know... As I was watching it the first time, when I saw it, I just went cold. That's when I knew I would never be able to escape him. It was a picture of Kawhi. Dead. Anyone who saw those messages would think we killed him after shoving him into...
And that's how he got his real leverage on his former students.
Since then,
He's giving you orders?
he makes us a...
Murder.
What the hell?
Any bullies involved in suicide. He doesn't even care how old the case is. If a student commits suicide, as far as I know, I think he's killed at least 7 people.
7? How's he...
So his idea of justice?
He said that's the... Anyone who drives someone until that way.
Not sure I should
yeah.
say this.
So was the murder of Hiro Mikoshiba part of that? We know Mikoshiba drove Ihara-san. That has to be. And how you found your role.
Not just me. Grabbing Mikoshiba required a good number of people. All the people who pinned Ehara down. And even the ones who filmed it, they were working for Sensei.
So that's how it went down.
We had an unspoken agreement that we wouldn't directly take part in any killing. He just makes us his accomplices somehow. But the one thing we can't ever do is turn him down. If we do, he'll... And then Kawai's... And we know that...
So as long as he has that...
Sounds to me like Kawana's had one thing on his... Sitting on that video and becoming an Ijincho handyman was all... He's dragged all his...
Is today that...
We'll see. I'm still curious about if...
What?
There are these scumbags chasing down Kawana called Ark. Strangely enough, so tell me.
That I don't know for certain. But Sensei did reach out to Yoko-chan about 6 months ago. He was asking her about the suicide at Seiryo High.
The suicide at Seiryo High.
The lawsuit played out like no bullying took place, right? That the school wasn't but Yoko-chan was a teacher there. And Sensei was able to get the truth.
How'd he do that?
From Yoko-chan's perspective, she and Sensei were both just... I think that's why she let her guard down and told them everything. After learning the truth, Sensei believed Mikoshiba needed to be held accountable.
So if Sawa-sensei hadn't talked to him, Ihara wouldn't have gotten involved, and none of this would be happening in Ijincho?
Possibly.
No, this isn't right. Sawa-sensei didn't know Koano's... She thought she was just talking through her problems with a sympathetic... At the very least,
It's not like we're the ones who did it.
Who is it?
Block. Hello?
Yo, know who that...
Koano?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm willing to meet you now if you come alone. But you have to let Mamayo go in exchange.
What?
Alright. She's free as soon as I see you.
Works for me. Then come on down to your office. I thought I'd let myself in.
What?
Gotta say,
Pretty sure I locked up behind me when I left.
listen, I'll only meet you alone. And don't make me wait long, or I could change.
He told me to meet him alone. You can let Mamiya-san go once I confirm he's there.
You gonna be alright by yourself?
Well, he already knows Mamiya-san's with us. I'm guessing he was watching us from somewhere. And I can't afford to do anything that would piss him off enough to make him disappear.
Got it.
Oh, we'll take care of this end of it. Shouldn't you move your ass?
Hope you don't mind I let myself in. Now, are you gonna hold up your end and release Yui Mamiya? Come on. You and I can either try to make this work, or neither of us is gonna get what we want. So, you gonna make the call or what?
Hello? Yagami-san?
I'm with Kawana. You can let Mamiya-san go.
Got it. Will do.
Sorry about all this, Yagami. Why don't you sit down? Maybe it's time you and I had a heart-to-heart. How's Kaito holding up?
Kaito-san's recovering in the hospital. For now. Sawa-sensei is another story, though.
I can hardly believe it. She was the last person I wanted to get mixed up in all this shit.
If that's the case, why were you already waiting in her apartment? RK's top men were lying in wait over there to get their hands on you. So why was she the one lying on the ground? Answer me, Kawana. Was it because of you?
Would you feel better if it was?
How dare you?
You're thinking that if you hadn't stuck your nose in her affairs, she might be at home grading her papers right now. You tell me, is that what's eating away at you right now? Because if it is, you're mistaken. That guilt is mine alone to bear. It's my burden to carry. When I saw on the news that she had been murdered in cold blood, it felt like the whole world had stopped spinning to me. I would take it all back right now if I could. But unfortunately, to fix this, I'd need to turn the clock back further than you'd think.
You mean back to when you were a school teacher?
Yeah, basically. Back to when I still had a little faith in humanity. Seeing someone's life get cut short, you never really bounce back from it, do you? But I don't have to tell you that. I did my homework on you, Yagami. It seems you were a fairly accomplished lawyer. You even scored a murder acquittal. But we both know how that ended. The death of an innocent young woman. You and I are the same. We both have scars. And they're the type of scars that never fully heal.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
But for Sawa-kun, it was 13 years ago. The very day before Mitsuru Kusamoto jumped, she stopped me in the hall so she could tell me about how serious the bullying really was. Up until that day, I'd just assumed it was boys being boys, teasing. I figured it was harmless, that they'd get bored with it, and then they'd move on. I mean, come on. Kawai had to have been twice the size of Mitsuru. It's not like I'd seen any fighting. So I warned him not to overdo it. And eventually he would take the hint.
Well, according to what I was told, you smirked, actually.
Yeah, I guess that's what I did. I was too late. Sawa-kun had to point it out. Sensei, how could you be so blind, she asked. Her eyes were this piercing mix of pity and scorn. According to what she told me, nearly half the class was bullying Mitsuru. She said she'd seen him at the station. She made it sound like he had half a mind to jump onto the tracks right then and there. I'm not so presumptuous anymore. I thought I couldn't just...
So you admit that you're the one who recorded that video?
Yeah. You saw it, right? Talk about the ugly side of kids. Hard to watch, wasn't it? Unfortunately, by the time I picked up the camera and saw what it recorded, Mitsuru had made his jump. I missed him by a few crucial moments. What happened in that classroom was the final straw. Later on, all the bullies were asked what happened. Each and every one of them lied. Kawhi started it. It wasn't our idea, they said. To anyone outside of it, all they'd seen was Kawhi forcing Mitsuru to do his bidding. So the people held Kawhi and myself. The callous homeroom teacher who deliberately turned a blind eye. That was the day I began living my life with real purpose.
So you couldn't forgive your students who got away with bullying. You went so far, you put aside your own life to make sure they atoned somehow.
That's right. Mitsuru Kusamoto's still a vegetable. He's as good as dead. But I don't care. We have no right to forget about him.
You say that, even though Sawa-sensei ended up paying for it. I'll ask you again. Why were you at her apartment the other day? Don't dodge the question this time.
I wouldn't say I dodged it. But I suppose I should explain from the beginning. You know this, right?
Yeah.
When she was in court, Sawa-kun had no choice but to say there wasn't any bullying. Soon as she told me that, I knew Hiro Mikoshiba would be my next target. Of course, she had no idea about any of that. When Sawa-kun learned Mikoshiba had been murdered, though, she reached out to me herself.
What did she want?
She had a sneaking suspicion that I was involved in his death. She called me a few times, prodding carefully for answers. Quite the perceptive lady, really.
And? What kind of answers did you give her?
I denied any knowledge of it, but at one point, she mentioned something kind of odd. That there was a detective at the school already investigating the incident.
Huh?
She meant you, of course. A detective already knee-deep into the case, despite the police barely even knowing about Mikoshiba. The police are a pain in the ass. But when an out-of-town detective comes sniffing around, that's bad. I knew I had to act fast to get you off the trail. Although, Sawa-kun was a problem too. I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone.
And then what?
First, I found out where the two of you would be meeting up, at that little cafe. Then, I hired the Liumang to step in. But you put up one hell of a fight. They had strength in numbers, but you would have taken out the whole group if I hadn't stepped in. Nonetheless, my other message went through. At the same time, Sawa-kun was handed a photo of Mikoshiba's final moments. I left that task to someone you know. Yue Mamiya. They hadn't seen each other in 13 years. Sawa-kun had no idea.
The lady in the sunglasses. Yui Mamiya was involved in that too?
Everything I did that night was intended as a warning to Sawa-kun. Although, I guess I didn't have to be so extreme about it.
Yeah. Sawa-sensei was too smart. She must have started suspecting that you'd had something to do with Mikoshiba's murder. After all, who else could have known we'd be meeting at that cafe? She'd have traced it right back to you.
Even if Sawa-kun had started to suspect me, I knew she wouldn't sell me out to the cops. We're too alike. The both of us lost students to suicide on our watch. That said, I couldn't bear the thought of dragging her down into the mess I started, so I scared her off, and I thought she would stay away. The day she was killed, she called to ask if we could speak in person. I could tell something was wrong. She was on the verge of tears the whole call. Then she broke down. I asked her why, of course, but she wouldn't give me a straight answer no matter how I tried to phrase the question.
So then what? Did you just waltz on over there? It doesn't seem like you.
Watch it. You don't know me well enough to say that.
Maybe. But I assume you had some sort of plan going in. Were you gonna confess to her?
Here's the thing. If she'd figured out that I was behind Mikoshiba, and it didn't sit well with her, I would have told her every last detail. Sawa-kun knew. I think she would have understood me. Or at least that's what I had believed. In hindsight, I think she was forced to make that call. Under normal circumstances, I'm sure she'd have rather washed her hands of me. Hard as it is to hear, I think she called me under duress. RK probably had her hostage. That would explain the vague responses. That's probably why her voice was trembling. It's tragic.
You mean it was RK? Why do they want you so badly anyway?
I don't know.
What?
If I knew their angle, I'd be doing more than just scurrying around.
You serious?
Believe me, I'm just as clueless as you are, much as I hate to admit it. Honest, I'm not thrilled that a small army wants my head on a platter. Have you noticed how RK seems to show up at the worst possible times? Someone must be pulling their strings.
Then we're on the same page. At least we agree on something.
Just a sec. Yeah. I'm still over here with Yagami-san. You're not being tailed by any of his guys, are you? Okay. Then I'll meet you right now. That was Mamiya-kun. She said she's free. You guys have been true to your word. Tell Sugiura-kun that I said thank you.
Now you want to go? We still have some business to settle here.
Now remember, I'm the handyman here. Let me do the dirty work. I don't know what else to tell you, but you need to get out while you still can.
If you disappear into the night, I don't want to go busting my ass just to find you again. Before you leave, I'll need some contact info. A phone number would be nice.
Oh, no need for that. As far as I'm concerned, this is goodbye.
I wouldn't count on that.
Hold up!
Now look at you!
You won't get away! Get up!
Now look at you!
Hold up!
You don't give up! Ah! Look at you!
You won't get away!
Don't you have anything else to do?
Hold up!
You don't give up! Ah! Now look at you!
here!
What the? Where'd he go? Kawana! You guys again. Do you really need the masks? Come on, Kurakawa kids.
You heard that, right? The detective here.
Kawana!
What are you going to do now? What do you think happens when he spills everything? Sounds like your lives are over.
But Sensei, you'll finish the job for us, right?
Huh? Is that you, Akaike?
Oh, he's even got a name to your voice. I know. I'll be the one to finish it. You just not.
Okay then.
Come on. Kawana! Oh no, Kawana! Really? So nice of you to stick around. Mamiya-san. Well, since Kawana couldn't stay, sounds like you're not out of the woods just yet, huh?